What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as we lost 3-2 to Manchester United at Old Trafford, which could be quite a damaging defeat in terms of the top four race. And let's get straight into it, and let's start off with Hugo Lloris. Sixes all round from us for Hugo. I mean, with all three goals, I don't think he could have done anything with. They were absolutely sublime finishes. The first one, Ronaldo, from 30 yards, absolutely into the top bins. The second one was a back post effort, which I don't think he could have done much about. And the third one, bloody hell, that header, nobody's saving that, I don't think. So I'm not going to mark him too much down on the goals. Apart from that, he was fairly untested, apart from one effort from Ronaldo early in the second half. I think it was just after we scored our second, where he came down and did a good save. He did catch a few corners as well throughout the day. So I think, look, it wasn't a great day from Hugo, but it wasn't a bad day. Just a standard day for Hugo, really.
Yeah, I think it was solid from him. I don't think we can complain too much. People saying he could have got closer to Ronaldo's first goal and he went with the wrong hand. It does look a bit weird, him going with his left hand as opposed to his right. But I do think the strike was so special. I don't think anyone could have got close to that. And as you say, I think he did make some good saves throughout the day, and his claiming from corners was actually pretty good. I don't think he could have claimed the one which we conceded from. That was way too far away from him. So it's a bit of a weird one because he did concede 3 goals, but didn't have 2 more. He wasn't overworked, you would say, but decent display from Hugo. Nothing special, but nothing to be too critical of.
Let's move on to Ben Davies. Sixes all round from us, and I thought he did defend well for the most part. Had the ball in the back of the net as well, which was offside, but you know, he actually put it away really nicely, didn't he? He was trying to get back as well for Ronaldo's goal, for the second goal, where Reguilon was playing him offside, but he was chasing a lost cause in that situation. But I think all in all, an okay display from Ben Davies.
Yeah, it was one of the very rare occasions he got forward, which he scored from. But I think he played all right. I think he wasn't too involved when we were in possession, but I think we did control possession well, and he was always an option when we were in control of possession. But out of possession, I think he dealt with Rashford on that side pretty well, even though obviously he had Reguilon to help as well. So pretty standard display from Ben Davies. Nothing too much of note.
Yeah, let's move on to Cuti Romero. 6 for Sim, 5 for me, and I really wasn't sure what to rate Romero, because I thought it was some really good moments and some really bad moments in there from him. And I think that for the last goal from the corner, Ronaldo did I think Romero was actually the one on Ronaldo first and foremost, and then it kind of got left to Doherty at one stage because he didn't track the run, Romero. But apart from that, I thought that he was very aggressive. There were a few challenges kind of in the when he was foraging forward into the opponent's half, and then he would get back and make some sublime challenge. I think that happened once or twice throughout the game. For our second goal, actually, he was offside, so if it did get past Maguire, it would have been offside. It would have been disallowed. But I think all in all, it's a good display from Romero, but he needs to work on his defending from set pieces massively.
And not only, but he was really well involved in the second goal in the build-up, actually passing it, picking up the ball from Kane, who was struggling to hold off Maguire, and he pops it off to Son, who pops it off to Reguilon, and allowed us to go on and score. So he was really, and he did that a few times, get really involved in the build-up play, which is really positive. I think it was really aggressive, and I think on that side, although Sancho did get quite a bit of joy, I think he put in a fairly decent display. But yeah, set pieces is becoming a bit of a worry now of Romero. He seems to be getting outdone a few times now from these set pieces. It's definitely something he has to improve on. But from open play, he's still very, very solid.
Eric Dyer, 6 from Sim, a 5 from me. Again, I was unsure what to mark him. I was toying between a 5 or a 6 for Dyer, as I was for Romero. And I think with Dyer, again, I think he did defend well for the most part. A lot of people are laying into him for not getting close enough for Ronaldo for the first goal, which is definitely a strong case. I think on the ball, he was getting on the ball and pinging it left to right, as he usually does, I think quite well. And then also he had a header cleared off the line in the first half. So I think it was another mixed bag from Dyer. But I'm not going to mark him too much down on the Ronaldo thing because it was just a sublime finish, but he definitely could have got closer.
Yeah, 100%. And he'll be frustrated as well because I think for the second goal, he's they've got a really good line. Obviously, he's leading the line, isn't he? And I think he'll be very frustrated that it was near perfect with only Reguilon letting us down. And that definitely Dias can take a lot of credit with that. I think his passing throughout the back to the wing backs was very, very strong. I think his defending, I know Ronaldo ended up scoring a hat-trick, but apart from the first one, there's not much he could have done with the other two. So I think he was doing his job. So I think in a weird way, Ronaldo didn't have too much from Dyer, and I just think he had a good game overall. It's just he'll be frustrated. That first we didn't get close enough to Ronaldo, which he definitely should have, and that those other 2 goals have gone in, which he couldn't do much about.
Yeah. Let's move on to Sergio Reguilon back in the side. Sim gave him a 5. I gave him a 6. Again, another one who I was toying between a 5 or a 6, but I went for the 6 in the end to give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, it was him keeping the Man United onside for their second goal with Ronaldo. The whole of the back line is in a line, and then he's just a little bit deeper. And instead of trying to get back and stopping the goal for Ronaldo, he's waving his arms and looking at the linesman, which I didn't like. It really annoyed me on the day. He was getting up the pitch and getting in some really good positions, but I felt that his decision making on the night wasn't that great and let us down more times than it didn't. But on the flip side of that, he did put in the cross that did eventually end up in the goal from the Maguire own goal. Later on in the game, I felt that he actually grew more into the game later on. He made a really good defensive challenge late on in the game, but ultimately he's the one that let us down in that second goal.
Yeah, very mixed day for Reguilon. I think at some points of the game, he was our biggest attacking threat down the left-hand side. He was the one really getting into spaces, and unfortunately, the goal that we scored, the equaliser, for 2-2, was one of the only times he actually put some really good quality into the box, and obviously it caused trouble. We need to see more than that from Reguilon. Obviously, offside, very, very poor from him. He's the only one who's not in line with the rest of the back line. I think everyone's keeping a perfect line except for him, letting everyone down, and that cost us dearly for the second goal. He really should have done much better. He lost concentration, so you can say, but he did make some really great last-ditch challenges, especially near the end when United were on the counter, which kind of just kept us in the game, and he nearly got us back in it. And right at the end, he had a big chance to square it to KANE after a really good run, and he air kicks it, and another lapse of concentration. So as much as he did get an assist, he did some good stuff. The bad stuff just cost us dearly. Yeah. That's the reality.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Let's move on to Rodrigo Bentancur. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. And I got really frustrated with Bentancur during the game yesterday. And it seems like it's becoming a bit of a constant theme with him as well. He just dawdles on the ball way too much, loses the ball in really dangerous positions. But on the flip side of it, he picks up the ball from deep and does make us tick a lot of the time, getting the ball forward. But I thought it was a poor display from him all in all yesterday. He's the one that should have really been tracking Ronaldo to stop him in his wake for the first goal. And I'm just becoming so frustrated with him in terms of just losing the ball in important positions.
Yeah, and it's unnecessarily as well. Like there was one time he got caught by Pogba where he had so much time to release the ball and he just dawdled and Pogba was getting closer and closer. He ended up nicking the ball off him. And obviously he got caught out for the first goal where he tries to nick the ball off Fred. Fred does a little pass around the corner, and that would have been frustrated for him.
Could have done more to track him, couldn't he?
Definitely, he definitely could have done way more to track him. But I did think actually he did more good stuff than people were giving him credit for. I think off the ball he actually was him and Højbjerg were providing quite effectively the press, and I think actually he did a lot of good stuff off the ball in terms of allowing us to continue to dominate. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and those lapses near the start of the game were costly. And he's got to get that out of that game because it's definitely becoming a theme now. This losing that's what the Juventus fan said as well, that he does kind of lose. He would lose the ball 3 or 4 times a game unnecessarily. He seems to be doing that, and I want to see him take a bit more responsibility when he does get on the ball as well. I feel like he shirks it a bit sometimes and lays it off to other players to do a long pass or charge forward when he definitely has the ability to be doing that.
We've seen it firsthand, haven't we?
Yeah, already. So he needs to be doing it more, and especially in these kind of games. So I want to see more from him. But I think off the ball, mostly good.
All right, let's get into Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I thought definitely he was our best player on the day. Viking performance, as he has been putting in the last few weeks. In the middle of the park, how many times did he win the ball back for us? Countless amount of times. He even had an effort on goal, which De Gea was equal to as well. But I don't think we could have played our game without Højbjerg yesterday. I thought he was sensational, really.
Yeah, for me, he was our best player, head and shoulders above the rest. I think in the centre, he was an absolute live wire. He was everywhere, and he was doing extremely well, nicking the ball back and allowing Tottenham. A big reason why we had so much possession was because of Højbjerg continuing to win the ball. And I thought he had a pretty good game. I think his passing was also really good. Long-range passing. Creatively, it wasn't great, but I think his long-range passing into dangerous positions was very, very strong. And I think they struggled to deal with him. It was just a shame he didn't deserve to be on the losing side yesterday. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, not just in a Tottenham shirt. I thought he played really well.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Matt Doherty. 5s all round from us. And actually, there were some good moments in there, but it was few and far between. I mean, he was getting a lot of pings from Eric Dyer, and he was taking them down well, showing some nice touches, getting into some good positions. But ultimately, I don't think he impacted too much going forward. And defensively, Sancho got into the back of him for the second goal, where Ronaldo hit it in the back post. But it was more Reguilon for keeping them on side on the day. And also in the third goal, he didn't do enough to stop Ronaldo, albeit it's a very much an uphill task stopping Ronaldo in those situations, but I still felt he could have done more.
Yeah, I think actually some stuff he impressed me with, like his ability to get into really good positions, which I doubted in this game. A few times he was struggling with Sancho, but by and large, when it wasn't a counter, he was okay. When he was on the counter, Sancho was definitely getting a lot of joy down that side. I think he was picking up the ball really well in the final third, getting good control of the ball, allowing for a lot of good situations. I think him and Kulusevski are actually developing quite a good understanding together, which I like very much. But unfortunately, not enough quality when push came to shove. Not enough quality inside the box, and a few times he was given the opportunity to swing a ball in, and it went out of play. And that's just that kills so much momentum when that happens.
All right, let's move on to HEUNG-MIN Son. He gets a 4 all round from us, and I really think he's lacking some confidence at the moment, HEUNG-MIN Son. He was getting the ball and he was slipping so many times yesterday. How many times in really key moments in the attack was he slipping? And, you know, if it's the Sonny of old, he's probably getting that, driving it, making good pass, getting a shot off. But that wasn't to be yesterday. He did have one effort on goal, which he could have done better from, which obviously wasn't meant to be. But Sonny just failed to impact anything going forward yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think first half he was a bit more involved. He was actually getting, getting free a few times, getting in behind, but didn't quite make the most of it. He had like the likes of Reguilon in support and things like that, but we weren't able to conjure up a really good quality chance. He had that big chance, obviously, in the second half, which he skewed wide, which we'll be disappointed with. But I think, yeah, the most disappointing thing was the amount of slips he did in promising position to him on the attack, and about 3 or 4 times he just couldn't stay on his feet, and that was a big shame. And it was a very disappointing performance from Sonny, I have to say.
Next up, Dejan Kulusevski, 7s all round from us, and I think he was our most productive attacker on the day. Felt like he had a really strong game. Obviously, for the penalty, it was his amazing work that did get us that penalty. He nutmegged Jadon Sancho and then obviously put the cross in, and Alex Telles handballed it. And I think time and time again, he was getting the ball on that right-hand side and causing Man United problems. He did go off early, 20 minutes to go or something in the second half, which at the time, I probably thought it was the wrong decision, but now having thought about it, I did feel like he was maybe tiring throughout that second half, so maybe it was the right decision, but all in all, it was a good game from Kulu.
Yeah, it was his trickery down the right-hand side that got the penalty as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was really positive from Kulusevski, and I think a few times in the first half, he was one of the main players causing problems for Man United, and his trickery and his close control and his passing has definitely given us a different kind of dimension up front, and we look so much better in the final third when he is there, or built in the build-up anyway. But unfortunately, he wasn't able, again, a bit similar to Son, wasn't able to get many shots off, wasn't able to test De Gea enough, and once his power started to wane, he was the one who made way, which was a shame because I thought he was having a good game. But another promising display from Kulusevski.
Last but not least, at the starting 11, Harry Kane. Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 5. And on reflection, yeah, you're probably right. There's another one which I couldn't decide on 4 or 5, but 4 is probably the right mark for Kane yesterday. You're looking at a player who's our talisman, who's been absolutely unplayable over the last few games, and it just wasn't happening for him yesterday. I mean, he was dropping deep, he was looking to make stuff happen, but his passing seemed off yesterday. Hardly got a shot on goal off from what I can remember, and just failed to really impact much of the game yesterday.
Yeah, I think he did well to hold off Maguire for the second goal in the build-up, but unfortunately that was too few and far between. Took a great penalty, which is fair enough, right into the corner there with no chance, but didn't impact the game anywhere near enough. Wasn't winning enough headers, wasn't challenging the United centre-backs enough, and wasn't getting anywhere near the amount of shots off that we expect from someone like Harry Kane. And that was the most disappointing thing. He's off the back of his last performance in Manchester. You're thinking, okay, now's your chance, Kane, to really step up. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite there for him, and it wasn't his day.
Lucas Moura, the only sub we're going to give a mark to, and that's 4s from us. He came on with 20 minutes to go for Kulusevski, and he didn't do anything really yesterday. He got the ball a few times to try and make a few runs, but that's pretty much it, to be honest, from Lucas Moura.
Yeah, I think it was frustrating for me, actually. Yeah. I think the few times he was able to get on the ball, he was giving it away sloppily, looking to take on a man. He always does that, where he looks to take someone on when it's not really on to take him on, and occasionally it'll work for him, but more often than not he gets tackled, and when there are better options, and he did that a few times yesterday. Just as I keep saying, it's like that kid in the school playground who has to beat someone before he passes it, and it was that case yesterday, and wasn't a good cameo, didn't do anything really when he came on.
Yeah. And last but not least, Antonio Conte. We're going to give him a 6. Both of us are getting 6s. It's a hard one with Antonio because I don't feel like he could have done anything different to impact that game yesterday. I felt like it's just the cards that he's been dealt with, the players that he's got in this squad. I think he's managing this squad to a good level. I think that we weren't exactly bad yesterday, and that was down to Antonio and his and his tactics and the way he set us up. Maybe he could have changed things a bit quicker, but I don't think that was the case yesterday either. I just think it's the cards that he's been dealt as this manager, and he's getting these players and he's getting the most out of them, but it's just not enough. Yeah,
and that's why I felt yesterday. I think we played quite well. The structure was there to get the result and to get in the right position, and now then it's on the responsibility of the players to deliver. And it's all about the individual quality in those moments, and they were lacking. Absolutely lacking yesterday, and I think Conte can only do so much. The coach's job is not to put the ball in the back of the net. The coach's job is to get you in the position to put the ball in the back of the net, or to get you in the position to have the quality to whip the ball across the face of goal. That's what the coach's job is to do, and I feel like there was enough there for us in terms of structurally to do a lot better than we were able to pull off. I think the players knew what they were doing. The patterns of play were there. We played some good football at times, but unfortunately, the players have to take responsibility for the quality, and it was lacking. And that's why we really struggled to create too many good quality chances, and that's a problem. So, tough day for Conte. I think performance wasn't terrible, but I don't think there's too much he could have done. I think he did as much as he could.
The fact of the matter, I know this is what I'm about to say is a very simplistic view of it, but the way that when you look at each goal, the Tottenham goals, I know we got 2 goals in the day, but the goals that we conceded, not really much that Conte can account for. I mean, a mess from set piece, but Ronaldo in those situations is his bread and butter. You can't account for Conte with a Dyer not getting close, or Rodrigo Bentancur not getting close enough to Ronaldo for the first goal. I think the players have got to take it upon themselves to do that. And for the second goal, you know, he's obviously structurally set them up well because everyone's in a straight line.
Yeah,
except for
Reguilon has to take responsibility
you know,
for that.
The players have got to take more responsibility for their actions on the pitch yesterday.
Exactly.
So that's the facts of the matter. And yeah, that is our player ratings from yesterday's 3-2 loss at Old Trafford. Let me know in the comment section below what your ratings are and what you thought of our ratings. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.